Should I switch off my video right now?
No, it's okay. It's fine. Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you. Hi, I am Arohi Tyagi, Associate Dean here at AAFT Online. And I, on behalf of the entire AAFT Online family, welcome you all to this special webinar on deciding the career pathways if you are into animation and VFX. And what could be more exciting than to have with us today Miss Charuvi Agrawal, who is a distinguished animation film director, producer, and immersive artist known for integrating Indian mythology into transformative storytelling. She graduated from Delhi College of Arts and earned a master's degree in computer animation from Sheridan Institute, Canada. Charuvi founded the Charuvi Design Labs in Gurgaon, specializing in high-quality animation content and intricate artwork. She gained international acclaim with her co-creation, The Legend of Hanuman, which was launched on Disney Plus Hotstar in 2021 and became one of India's most watched shows. Charvi has been recognized in the Limca Book of World Records as well and has been showcased globally, including at the Incredible India at 60 in New York. So without further ado, let me welcome Charuvi here. Hello, how are you doing, ma'am?
Thank you, Aru, so much. Thank you so much for the beautiful, lovely welcome. Thank you.
The pleasure is all ours to have you here with us today. And, we are all looking forward to this session with you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
All right. And to all the learners who are present here, in case you have any questions, you want to ask anything to ma'am, you can just put your questions in the Q&A box, which is located right below on your screens, and I'll be taking them up at the end. So all yours now.
Great. Fantastic. So very quickly, just wanted to greet everyone over here. First of all, I want to congratulate all of you for taking the first step into what I truly believe is one of the most dynamic and creative fields, which is, animation and visual effects. This industry, is constantly evolving and it's full of incredible opportunities. So in today's session specifically, I wanted to guide you through the various pathways in animation and visual effects, help you understand the different roles you can pursue based on your interest and skills, whether you're passionate about the creator side or the technical aspect or the supporting services, there is a place for you in this ever-growing field. So I encourage you all to keep an open mind and ask questions as we go along. And this is all about helping you navigate this exciting journey ahead. So we'll just get started. Give me a second. I'll now be sharing my presentation. Just a second. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, it's visible.
Great. So a little about what we do. I run CDL, Charuvi Design Labs. It is a boutique studio. It's been about 15 years in the making. So we create very high quality 3D animation content for OTT platforms, museums, VR, AR, XR, projection mapping, immersive space. Quite exciting, by the way. And are currently working towards transformative content. So in fact, if some of you are furthermore keen to understand what all we do and the kind of work we have done in the past, please, feel free to go to cdl.tv. This is our website. And a small link, a small reel, just to show you the kind of work we have done. There might be a lag, but please, I hope it's sort of, visually visible. So it's a gamut of, various snippets of our portfolio. So it has, work from museums, work on the OTT space, some of the IP that we have created in the past. It's a mix of a lot of work that we have done. Really hope there was not too much of a lag in the video. But anyhow, we continue furthermore. So, animation is, in true self, it's an art of motion more than anything else. And today, the idea is to cover a host of topics ranging from animation, visual effects, CG as a field and industry. Who is a CG artist? How does one truly go about it? So that's the idea that I wanted to share some of my experiences, my learning alongside. And as an Indian filmmaker, my perspective would be more geared towards the domestic market and the kind of content we have been generating. So now quickly, what is animation and visual effects? Now, considering that, you're a new batch and you have joined AAFT, I'm sure you must be sort of knowing what is animation and visual effects, but what really it is something that I quickly wanted to summarize and sort of, uh, get you into that adrenaline rush that, okay, this is very exciting and you're at the right place. So animation is the way we narrate imaginative storytelling. It is a combination of art, motion, storytelling, typically in an exaggerated way. And that's the reason why relatively majority of the time it's always called cartoons. Now, if you look at my screen left, you can see a zoetrope. Now, zoetrope was perhaps the first demonstration of animation and almost nearly 200 years ago. And then early cartoons were made in the early 20th century. Now, today, animation is a broad industry with content for toddlers, children, kids, teens. For teens, you have anime, even anime goes for adults. And now you have family oriented animation. And the style there's a spectrum of styles. You go from stylized to photorealism. And what is visual effects? I mean, I would really want all of us to interact over here, even though I've written very easily and very, in straightforward in 2 lines what exactly visual effects is. But to my audience, to my students right now, which is the visual effects film that you would, is your favorite or you aspire to be, or something that, you look forward to creating or working on? So any answers over there?
You can put the answers in the chat box, please, all of you.
Avengers. Okay. James Gunn. Fantastic. Why not Indian Bollywood or Tollywood? I think yeah, we see a lot of Hollywood lovers over here, Hollywood fans. 201 Ramayan. Okay, that's something new that I'm not familiar with. I think it's the animated cartoon that he's mentioning about. Definitely Avatar. Well, I completely agree with you. Okay. So I hope there's no gray patch, right? In front anymore?
Yeah, now it's clear.
Yeah, it's the chat box. Okay, great. So now with, VFX is typically used in live action content, as all of you know. It's to make impossible elements look like as if they are part of the actual storytelling. And it's actually a virtual simulation, and you are actually creating a virtual universe and clubbing the live action plate with it. So almost every single film these days has elements of VFX, from set extensions to effects that are ended in the post. And not something very new, because there's something that started during COVID, is virtual production. And it's becoming increasingly popular that as a medium that allows filmmakers and other creators to create and capture high quality visual effects in real time. Now, visual effects and CGI. Now, these terminologies are quite, there's a cross-pollination, and I wanted to sort of distinguish what exactly is. So VFX is a type of CGI that is used to enhance or create the illusion of real life, while CGI and VFX are often used interchangeably. So the main difference between the two is that CGI refers to any computer-generated imagery, while VFX specifically refers to the use of CGI and other special effects techniques in films. Now, in this particular image, you can see how a green chroma is used and has been replaced with a matte. Now, this is like a traditional way of doing visual effects. Now you have more new ways of doing visual effects where you don't really have to even use chroma screens. Oh yeah, sorry, I'll play a quick clip. This was, if I'm not wrong, this was done in the year 2011. So it's quite old as a clip, but I just wanted to show you, an example of what VFX really is. Now, this is something, so I really wanted to highlight about the industry division. This is something that I really wish as a student somebody had told me, when I was in college. This is something where, it's very crucial for you to understand what these two buckets are. So now the industry, the current present industry, and it's been like this for ages now, the industry is divided into creating content and providing services. So you can break down into two key categories, each with its own set of career pathways, opportunities, and skill sets. So this is how you can approach. One is creating content, which is animation, IP, and production on, which is on screen right, and on screen left, you have animation services. So creating content focuses on the production side where original ideas, narratives are developed, often seen in industries like film, animation, gaming, or digital media. And providing services, which is animation service. This is the industry which involves offering specialized support, services that enable content creators to bring their vision into life. So such as creative and operational roles. Now, I'll give you a very simple example. For Legend of Hanuman, for example, the IP creation, which focused on the creative foundation of storytelling, world building, creating the universe, the unique artistic identity, all of that came in the IP production bucket. Now, from IP production bucket, when you have the visual skeleton laid out for you, it goes into the service sector. Now, service sector would mean, so IP generation could be, a team of artists or even a single person because you're creating an idea. From an idea comes services. It goes to a team of 500 people or 400 people, and there it becomes a service sector. You're providing a service. So this involves execution of the creative vision through technical and production processes. So typically, so studios like, just to give you a broader example, I'm sure you must have heard of studios like, Prime Focus, 88 Pictures. So these larger studios are service provider, and IP production are companies that are creating and generating ideas like Green Gold, Graphic India, CDL is one of them. So we generate ideas, we generate stories, and then it goes to the service provider. So now when you were mentioning, Avatar or Avengers, all these Hollywood films technically are the IP of a US production house based out of US. And that service comes to India, which means, wire removal, chroma removal, creating of creatures, post-processing. Now that comes in the bucket on the left, which is animation service. So when you go through the whole course, just keep in mind where you wish to be. Do you want to be an IP creator or do you want to provide services? So in a simple term, I just wanted to sort of lay down to you all of this. Now, before we dive into animation and VFX industry, wanted to very quickly take a moment to appreciate how far we have come. Look at the difference of iconic Godzilla versus Kong movies from 1960s to 2020s. Now, back in 1960s, visual effects really relied on miniature sets, costumes, puppetry, a very, charming mix of creativity and limitation. But there was a different charm altogether. Now, fast forward to 2020s, you have photorealism, you have CGI, you have motion capture. Your entire virtual world is created with cutting edge technology. It's really, really fascinating how storytelling has remained timeless. But our tools and technique have evolved dramatically, making the impossible come to life in ways we could have not imagined. So just wanted to show you these examples because me as a child have grown up with these very low-end, low-budget visual effects films. And now when I see, this being completely transformed, and this is the industry that we live in, it's really mind-blowing. So the mediums are endless. Technology, has transformed how entertainment is created, experienced. with new advancements driving the animation and VFX industries forward. So this image, this collage right in front of you sort of consists of various sort of mediums altogether. Now, globally, there's a huge demand for immersive content. I'm not sure how many of you know what immersive media really is, because typically, as children, what we see on television is what we think, entertainment industry is. But on the outside, it's huge. Now you have the Sphere in Las Vegas. I mean, that's also immersive content. So now the spectrum, I would say the horizon, the scope has become limitless. There's a huge demand for immersive content fueled by Hollywood, gaming, OTT platforms using tools like virtual production and AI. And in India, the industry is growing fast, becoming a key player in global projects while also producing mythological stories, games, commercials, with government support, of course, for students and new startups. There are exciting opportunities for all of us for both creating original content and providing technical services. Now, speaking of technology, when I talk about bringing the past alive, this is one of the image that I quickly wanted to show on screen left at the corner at the top, which is, of course, Gandhiji, Mahatma Gandhi. Now, this avatar of Gandhiji was created in a matter of few days, as opposed to what would take months to create a digital double. So, using photogrammetry, motion capture, this got done in a matter of few days. So this is how far we have come. Now, virtual production, what I was mentioning before as well, is groundbreaking technique that blends real-time technology with filmmaking. Now, this is something which became highly popular during COVID because, of course, you had restrictions of location shoot. So you had the actor, but you could not travel. So what happened was you introduced virtual production. Virtual production specifically is nothing. It's just a, LED screen. And this was used quite often for events, conferences, marriages. You have these massive screens, and somebody great, came up with the idea, let me use that and, have Unreal calibrate with the screen, real life camera tracking, and then you have environment right there with the actor. So let me play a clip to sort of demonstrate what I'm talking about. This does not have music or audio, so it'll be easier to view. Now, as I mentioned, it uses LED walls, real-time rendering, and motion capture to create immersive environments on set. So this reduces the need of green screens. Now, one of the most popular shows that I'm sure all of you must have watched is Mandalorian, and that's where it all started. So it allows filmmakers to see and interact with the virtual worlds during production, saving time, enhancing creativity, and reducing the cost. So you have the screen, you have the Unreal environment, and it's streaming on the huge LED screen. It's real-time data. It moves, your camera moves. The content is tracked with the camera, and the actor has the exact lighting setup it should in real life. So who are CG artists? So for VFX and animation, of course, we all need CG artists. And who they really are, they are professional artists who are highly skilled in making animation or VFX content. In simple words, you guys are going to be magicians very soon, because you'll be creating life in the virtual environment. So in true words, CGI artists are magicians. They are creatively inclined, have spent hours honing their skills, have excellent understanding of their medium, thereby striking the right balance. They are enablers of modern films, animation, ads, games, and other digital content. Generally, they have, so typically, I mean, these are, I would say, the requirements. If you do not have, that's also all right, because there are a lot of self-taught artists all, out there. So they should definitely have, or hopefully have, animation degree or an arts degree, Some have computer science majors, while others have film degrees. A CG artist has to understand technology and also be technically inclined. Now, that's something which is required because the tool remains a software. But the best ones are very creatively inclined, work incredibly hard. It's not a job for them, it's their purpose. It's their purpose of life. Love being challenged, keep upgrading themselves along with the industry, are explorers by nature. They like experimenting, discovering, and learning. So they are always at an edge to understand how to tackle, how to troubleshoot, how to crack. But the base core is creativity. Now, very quickly coming to the career part. So I wanted to very quickly show you what a pipeline is. Now, this is a very basic pipeline, a more basic approach to a general pipeline where there's an overlap of departments when it comes to visual effects and animation. Now, a pipeline, for me to say this, it goes universally for all the studios. They have different pipelines depending on different projects. But in a very simpler, basic manner, a pipeline has three phases: pre-production, production, post-production. Now, pre-production typically entails where you are thinking of the idea. From the idea comes the script. From the script comes the storyboarding, which is, a visual breakdown of how your entire film, your clip will flow. From there, you come into character designs, modeling, rigging, texturing. I don't want to go into detail of every single things because your faculty would be taking you through, but I thought let me just give you a overarching understanding. And from there, we jump into production. So pre-production technically is where you are creatively designing the whole thing. And then in production, we step into, layouting, animation, putting in cameras, putting in lights, and then rendering it out. And then there's an overlap. If it's visual effects, then you're also tracking and, live action tracking happens. And then in post-production, specifically, whatever's coming out from render, you are basically compositing it. You're putting everything together. So in simple layman terms, post-production is where you put things together, put music, do the edit, and push it out. Now, a more intense approach would be what you see over here in the next slide. Now, this is an animation series pipeline. Now, the reason why I'm showing this to you is that how elaborate various departments are and how many specialists one really required. Because then, you have series director, you have animation directors, you have art designers, you have a lot that is happening on floor. So it's a much more bigger picture. So typically what happens is, when you are going into animation, you think, oh, I might become an animator or I might become a modeler. But that's not the case. There are so many disciplines to it. So the scope and possibilities are huge. And as a CG artist, you become a specialist, a generalist, or move towards more operations or management role, which is the management part where you have, the production coordinator, the managers, they come in the management role. Now, later on, one can look at becoming creative heads as well, or even full-fledged filmmakers. I'll show some examples to you on the next slide. But just to shortlist everything together, besides the cliche terms that one gets to hear is animator, modeler, texture artist, but there's a lot happening. When I say animator, it's not just animator. You have a layout animator, you have a specific lead animator, and then you have a supervisor animator also. So you start climbing up. But then now you have Unreal artists, you have 3D generalists, you have a lot of roles coming in. And similarly, when you go into the visual effects domain, then you have roto artists, you have roto and prep artists, chroma cleanup. You have, again, various divisions that start coming in. Now, when I say, one can look at becoming creative heads or even full-fledged filmmakers, I wanted to very quickly share just two examples. One is Sanjay Patel, who is of Indian origin. And again, he started small. He used to work at Pixar as an animator. And he went on, working on iconic blockbusters like A Bug's Life and Monster Inc. From there, he transitioned into making his short film, Sanjay Super Team, which was actually nominated for Oscars. And not only that, he also came up with, by the way, the film was actually based on him. So that was quite interesting. And post that, he very recently, I think this was last year, he came up with his own animated series called Ghee Happy. So, and for which he was nominated, and perhaps I think he had won an Emmy award as well. So you start small and you start learning the ropes of the whole game, and you start polishing and honing your skills. So that was one, Sanjay Patel, and then you have Domi Shi. She's the filmmaker behind, she's the director behind Turning Red. Again, started as a storyboard artist at Pixar. She contributed to films like Inside Out, Toy Story 4, made her directorial debut, which was nominated for Oscars as well. And she was the first woman to direct a Pixar short by the name of Bao. So just wanted to share these examples, but there are thousands of such inspiring stories in our line of work. The most common part of the journey has been about starting small. They began as animators, storyboard artists, or writers, and they gained recognition by contributing something innovative or emotionally very, very impactful. Now, speaking of new roles, there are new roles which are emerging to bridge the gap between traditional animation and AI. You have, virtual production specialist using real-time engines like Unreal for set, for, visual effects set. You have technical artists, you have XR designers, and then you have AI in animation. So the fusion of, AI and animation and VFX is a very, very exciting new frontier, offering new ways to create innovative and specialized, never ever evolving entertainment industry. So for a AI tool specialist, it could be as simple as, writing scripts, blueprints for Unreal Engine or Maya, or, using rotoscopy software for Nuke or frame tracking. So what typically AI is now doing is it's become an enabler where things have become faster with AI. So I wouldn't say that it, in no way it can replace creativity, but it is enabling us to fasten the pace at which we used to create. So, it's used for research. For example, ChatGPT can be used for research. And it's also used for speeding up in various ways, whether it's simulation, animation, or optimization. You can just now ask, AI to write you a script and you can start inserting scripts. So it has really leveraged the industry by speeding up things. So it's definitely a tool to amplify creativity, but not replace it. I just wanted to reiterate that. And a very interesting fact that I wanted to share with you is that the industry is also looking for specialists which have truly unique expertise. For instance, in cricket, I have written it over here. In cricket, motion capture is used to map the performance of players and specialists, where specialists are needed for this. This is then used by coaches and teams to monitor the progress as to how the athlete is really doing and which, are they using the right target? Is the speed correct? Is the aim correct? So this is also where such specialists are required for motion tracking. Then the Indian defense industry also uses this particular technology. So, very quickly wanted to, share a studio and production house list. Actually, the list is way long. I've only probably clubbed just 10 of the companies. But this is a mix of studios providing service, creating IPs, catering to series, commercials, VFX industry. And India has a lot of potential for homegrown content, with number of studios which are housed within India and which are popping up almost every few months. So we have currently more than 15,000 animation companies alone. And with the new AVGC policy, there are more companies which are coming in. So what are the reasons to pursue animation and VFX? Well, I had mentioned that, if you have an artistic soul, this is the right place for you. It is better paid than almost any other creative industry. It is meritocratic and rewards creativity, hard work, and diligence. What it really means is it is merit-based. It is an industry that can actually make you famous. Awards, film credits, titles are globally recognized for achievements in this industry. It is the place to truly find a way to express. Coming to the scope and versatility of the industry itself, it's very wide. Uh, in fact, there are a lot more, but I'm just sharing a few of them over here. There are numerous industries that use a combination of CGI. So you have the entertainment industry, which all of you know. Then you have culture and tourism. I'll be sharing few examples which sort of, come in this particular domain. You have marketing and branding. So your commercial ads, print campaigns, all of them use 3D. Your theme parks, toys and games. And the reason why toys and games, because it's an interesting ecosystem. You have, a TV series or a game which does well, then the whole franchise comes in, which is toys and games. And now with 3D printing, 3D printing has been there for quite some time. You can actually print anything that you create in 3D primarily. Then video games, manufacturing, defense, which I mentioned, education, UI, UX development, product design, and architecture. So very quickly, I wanted to share, I'll just place my bar over here. Yeah. I wanted to share a few examples from our very own portfolio, which sort of elaborate the entire scope and career pathways. So series, as most of you know, television shows are distributed over the internet, often through subscription-based services. So this is what OTT platforms do, like Netflix, Amazon, Disney Plus. And these series bypass traditional broadcast television and cable networks. Your traditional broadcast television network would be, Colors or Sony Live, all of them. So OTT became huge during COVID. And since then, shows had been at a high-end demand. And that's the reason why smartphones became the best medium to start watching shows. And that's where the growing demand started coming in for content. Then again, one of the examples is, of course, Legend of Hanuman. Now, this particular series was aired in 2017, and we are doing season 5 at present. So wanted to share that with you. Then very interesting series again. This is on Discovery. It's The Legend of the Ramayana with Amish Tripathi. Now, when we talk about animation and visual effects, our views are typically very narrow, but there's so much happening all over. Now, in this particular series, for example, this is a documentary where while Amish Tripathi is narrating the whole journey, he's, wanting to tell his viewers, this is how it all happened. The backstories, they take form of animation. And the style was, again, very different. So where Hanuman, the Legend of Hanuman had interesting stylized look, but more semi-realistic, this had a more illustrative look. So I quickly wanted to show you examples of how the visual look and feel starts changing. So these are some of the images from the show. Now coming to a very exciting space, the immersive space. Now these spaces are designed to create a fully engaging and interactive experience for visitors. They often use advanced technologies like virtual reality, augmented reality, projection mapping to transport visitors to different worlds or historical periods. These spaces can offer hands-on activities, which means interactive, making it interactive, and immersive storytelling to make learning fun and engaging. And typically, they are oriented towards a family as a unit. So this is one of our latest examples. So this is a museum at Kurukshetra by the name of Jyotisar. And again, if you see, you walk in, they are artifacts, of course, but very few. And this is on the grand epic Mahabharata. So imagine you walk into these large rooms, and every single room is, in a sense, a canvas, a digital canvas. So from 360 content to 270 degrees to, portrait size clips, the entire epic is sort of divided between 12 separate galleries, and then you walk from one gallery to the other. And again, what really is working over here is digital content, storytelling. So this is one where, again, this is part of the same museum. We had to sort of shoot about 200 minutes of content, which was, again, live actors and traditional means of shooting visual effects. It's interesting because, this is the first time that we were dealing with a team of 300 people, because when you talk about Mahabharata, that means massiveness, grand scale, grand, grand settings. Now, for example, this particular location, we could not have, of course, virtual production, because we actually had to shoot a specific location and really have the feeling of the whole set. So this is where we could not really explore virtual production, because again, with technology and tool, one has to be very careful as to when to use what, and does it really solve your purpose. Now, this kind of a shot could have easily been done in virtual production. But again, very interesting, because this is where, you sit on the director's seat primarily and figure out the whole storytelling, how everything has to come together. This is a much older project, but again, for a museum, it's on Guru Gobind Ji. And this is the aerial view of the whole museum. So imagine, that's the reason why I wanted to show you how immersive content is taking place physically. This is more of a dome-shaped planetarium. Again, we talk about the 10 Sikh gurus, but you're actually looking at a dome, and everything is 360. This is again a projection mapping. And a very interesting, space, because so in the center, what you see is a turntable. You're seated on the turntable while you have content playing all around you. So imagine your hero comes out of, this huge castle, and he's like right approaching to you, and he travels across you. And you start looking and you turning your chairs as you follow the actor. So the turntable were calibrated with the content. So every time anything would happen, somebody's approaching to for a conflict or to kill you, the chairs would orient accordingly. So these are the stills, just to make you understand. And then again, a very different immersive space. This is more cylindrical. This is on the life of Gautam Buddha. So imagine you actually have these physical spaces that have been sprouting all across India, with digital content being at the core. This is for Gandhi Smriti. The content, the medium was hologram and touchscreen. So we had a 360 hologram where the ideologies of Gandhi ji were showcased. And this is virtual reality. I'm sure you must be knowing what virtual reality is. So there's passive, there's interactive, then you have Oculus. Oculus lets you, get into the whole interactive zone. And coming to my last set of example, which is digital journey. So the reason why I've labeled this as digital journey is because now with one of the last two recent projects, I would say, we had to create immersive rides, which could teleport you to different environments. So let me show you an example. So one was for a bus ride where the glasses, the windows specifically were LED screens, and everything would happen real time. So this is a 9 kilometer, a 9 kilometer tunnel where it's all black. You sit in the bus, and the moment you step inside the whole tunnel, the screens would change into content. So this was to promote the tourism in Himachal Pradesh. And we had to shortlist 15 destinations of Himachal Pradesh. And those 15 destinations had their own storytelling. It could be the ferries, it could be, you could be on the highest Cheecham Bridge, and the windows would change. And this is how they would change. So you're in the tunnel, and there are motion sensors. So with motion sensors, the speed was controlled on the content that you could see around you. And these were the visuals which were playing across. So again, very exciting. And imagine all of this is happening in India. Yeah, sorry, I came onto that slide too fast, but just wanted to conclude our today's presentation. And there's a lot that I wanted to talk about, but I tried clubbing in as much as I could. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask.
Thank you, Charuvi, for such a wonderful and engaging, I would say, session. And it was an absolute delight, to see a visual treat, I would say, the entire way, you projected the work and all the scenes behind it and everything.
Thank you. Thank
And
you. Yeah, I hope our students were benefited by the same.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And to all the students also and the learners over here, I would just want to tell you that Charuvi is associated with AAFT as the industry dean of the School of Animation. So in case, you are wanting to explore this world of animation and you are looking forward to build a career in this, we have an online diploma program in animation and VFX for which you can enroll. And, these are our numbers. You can call in or you can drop in an email to us and we'll be happy to share the details of the course with you. As Charvi mentioned, we have few of the learners who are already enrolled and few of the ones who are still making their mind as to, whether to enroll or not. So yes, in case you have any doubts, you can give us a call and we are here to help you out by clearing all your doubts. So we have got few questions here, and the first one is by Abdul, and he's saying that he's been using Maya for animation and modeling because the industry says that it's the best as far as standard goes. But these days, open source Blender is growing tremendously. And so what is your recommendation?
So my recommendation is first get your anatomy right. So this is something that I tell all my artists. Tool aside, whether it's Blender, Max, Maya, you name it. Today you have Blender, tomorrow you're going to have some other tool. But the basics always remain the same. Yes, Blender has become extremely popular. There's a new feature film that has come out, which has been nominated for Oscars called Flow. It was actually made in Blender. So Blender has become easily popular, but the basics always remain the same. How you model. And those basics, the core essence really lies that you need to understand what anatomy is. I mean, if you want to create a cat, that's what the Flow, film is all about. It's a cat. But if you don't get your cat right, whether it's Maya or Blender, the software has no value. Eventually, please use software as a tool and do not rely that, okay, should I only learn Maya or should I learn Blender? Because eventually all the softwares have different navigation systems, but the fundamentals always remain the same. So for example, I'm trained in Maya, but today if I have to switch to Blender, I can very easily do that because my basics are there. So eventually for you to train yourself in other software will take, a matter of a day or two if your basics are all sorted. So yeah, just to answer to that question.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree with you. The basics have to be strong. Abdul has another question, and he's asking that, the visuals which you showed, the green screens, they had this plus kind of a sign. What is that?
So basically, in traditional visual effects, what used to happen is tracking. So, when I'm shooting my actor and there's a chroma, but if I'm pulling my camera out, if I'm moving my camera, I don't have anything behind to use it as a place marker. So what happens is I need something to target at. So this is something that you'll be, learning in visual effects. So you require those trackers to track your camera movement. So what happens is a real life camera is moving with the actor, but at the background, you don't have any information. So when that plate comes to us, to a visual effects company, those track points is what your digital camera will read and emulate the same camera movement. And that's the reason why you have those trackers. And this is also used for head replacement. For example, today I want to be, shot as a Medusa. So I will put markers on my face and, I could talk to Arohi, whatever. And then all one requires is the track points on my face. Of course, your eyes are also a track point, but you require more track points to get the right angles in. And then I can replace my head with any CG head. So that's the reason why we use track points, or there are sometimes, even bindis do well. It could be a green marker or a red marker or a blue marker. So there are a lot of ways now. Now you are also using AI to do tracking, which I was mentioning. So yeah.
That's very interesting again. Kanishk is asking that how will AI impact animation? You've covered a bit of it, but
I've heard a bit of it. So I've been asked this question quite often in various conferences. And so in a very simple, simple words. So, when if I jump back to about 100 years back, we did not much before that actually. When there was no invention of camera whatsoever, all you could do was paint. Then came the camera, photography came in. So the classical painters felt, oh my God, our jobs are going to be taken because now you have photographs, Why would people want to get their portraits painted? Because now you have pictures. So painting never got eliminated, even now. You still have painting exhibitions, you still have portrait painters, you have all of that. The idea is to evolve. Similarly, if I say Photoshop is also an AI, right? I mean, unlike painting, which lets you, when you paint, you can't really undo. What you have done is you have done. If you have spoiled your painting, you have spoiled your painting. But in Photoshop, you never spoil anything because you can undo. Now that's an AI right there. So we have to adapt and evolve ourselves as I speak. But AI at this point of time cannot replace filmmaking. So even if the commercials or whatever, content that you're seeing on LinkedIn or Instagram, on social media, there are no human emotions and there's no consistency at all. People have been trying that. So the way I use AI and the way people are using AI is, for example, we are using for mood boards. We are taking out references. Okay, this particular, shot of mine has to be very dramatic. Maybe the sun is positioned at 12 o'clock. So can I take images? Can I look for references? Initially, you had to go on Pinterest. Now I would go on Midjourney and take out my references. Similarly, AI now needs to be, used to speed up your process, but it cannot replace us. So just to, in a broad way, I just want to say that it's an enabler, but it cannot create, original ideas yet. And I don't think so it would be able to create that. What it is entirely doing is it's taking out all the information which is there on the internet and then creating something and giving you. But what it is taking is, again, content which humans have created. And then it's devising and giving you something else. So just to summarize that, wanted to quickly, I'm not sure whether I've answered your question, but yeah, just to.
no, I think you've given a hope because people are like AI is now going to overpower us and everything.
No.
So this is a hope that you've given to us that no, your mind is your mind and
No,
that will
I
direct the
want.
AI.
Absolutely.
Great. Anand, I could see you were raising your hand. In case you have a question, you can put it in the chat box as well. I'll take it up. Okay. Rajak has a question that, hello, ma'am, I'm a marketing major. I would like to know about career paths in animation, enhanced advertisements, and how I can pursue them.
So if you have a marketing major and advertisement is actually a great space, but being a marketing person, are you at the creative front or more towards, designing strategies? So that would be my question to him, because that's what, the career path can be aligned. Because, with ad agencies, they are looking for creative strategies to promote a campaign. So that is one space, of course. And those creative strategies, of course, require CGI. And when it comes to creating content, again, you require CGI. So you have designers who are designing the content, but they are not really creating it. But because you understand the market well, because you have the right, I would say, analytic mind, where you're figuring out, okay, this is what's doing great as a campaign. This is my target audience. So this is the creative strategy. And this is what my creative message or my print campaign or my video content should entail. So you are devising the whole structure, and then the animations and then the content, the brief is given to the animation studio, and vice versa. If you're someone who wants to create content, then obviously this part also helps, and you directly deal into creating the medium.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for answering that. And again, I would want to tell you all, that in case you want to turn your imagination into, this animation world, you want to learn more about softwares which Charuvi mentioned, like Maya and Blender. We are going to teach you all of that as well. So in case you are interested to know more about it, you can just call us at this number or drop in an email to us, and we'll be telling you about the details of the course which we have, a diploma in animation and VFX, which is an online diploma program. So herein you can learn about, these contents from the space of your home, and you need not go anywhere and learn if you have this passion of creativity and storytelling. All right, Charuvi. So I think I have another question.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, so Swastik is asking that I've been into 3D modeling. There are many areas like modeling, sculpting, camera angles, all of these hold their land on their own. So how can I know which I need to pursue?
So for this, Swastik, I mean, as any student, I could actually put myself in the same profile as you at this point of time. When I started out, I had no idea. Do I want to be an animator? Do I want to be a modeler? So typically, an academy lets you understand that, because what happens is you are going to dabble every single department. So your faculty, the course module will take you through modeling, step 1, what is rigging, step 2, what is animation, step 3. So when you go through every single department, you will understand what your plus points are. So I'm not a great animator, but I can read animation very well. But if I have to today sit and animate keyframes, I suck. But but I can direct animation very well. So we all have our plus points. So I remember I was fantastic as a model and a texturing artist. And then later on, I figured out, oh, I'm great when it comes to directing art styles. And okay, I'm better when I became a filmmaker. So, it also changes. So it's not necessary that, when you start off, you might all of a sudden feel, oh, I'm a great lighting and rendering artist. Maybe I should continue like that. Maybe after a few years down the lane, you might change your mind, and you might feel that, oh, I'm a great cinematographer. Let me assist a camera person. So it changes. The mind and your skill set will develop furthermore. But it is very crucial for you to go through what every area entails for you to understand where you are good at.
Yeah, absolutely right. We have another question, and this is the
Sure.
last one.
No problem.
Abdul is asking that, hello, ma'am, how do you get out of your art block? Since sometimes it goes hard for me to get out of it.
It is very, it's very human to get into these writer blocks, artistic blocks. It happens. For me, my way of doing is I get inspired by looking at other artists' artwork. So even though we are in a filmmaking business, I get my inspirations from traditional artists. So I follow a lot of artists on Instagram. So for example, I had to design something, and very quickly, so for a day or two, I was just looking at pure art. What is happening in Berlin, what is happening in London, and that too traditional art, what is happening in galleries. And it just took me out very easily. So for me, what really helps is getting into fine art sometimes. I mean, that's my way of coming out of, the block, the creative block, I would say. For some people, it could be about hearing music. You just shut off, you don't see anything visual, and you just hear music. So for each person, you have to figure out yourself what is your magic potion, what lets you what gets your freedom out. So that's something that you will have to devise. It could be just scribbling on the paper, playing video games, it could be anything. So, or it could be just, eating. Like sometimes, for me, it's all about, stress eating, and it gets me a lot of hopes for some reason. So, keeping jokes aside, but creativity, of course, it's very natural to get into blocks, but all you have to do is figure out your own solutions, your own getaways.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Charuvi. Thank you so much for such a wonderful, interesting, and insightful session that we had with you today. And I'm sure all the learners, they've benefited a lot from whatever projects you showed and whatever work you showed, which you are doing. And thank you so much, and wishing you all the best for the future journey which you have.
Thank you so much, Charuvi. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in. See you another time. Bye-bye. Good day.